Hey everyone, it's Bellsprout here. Welcome to my Frostfire mine guide. I wanted to make this video because it's quite an easy event to rank quite highly. I wanted to show people how I was getting consistently into the top 20 even as a free-to-play player. So I've made this video bearing in mind that, I don't expect you to win fights or anything like that. We're just going to gather and try and make it as simple as possible. So let's jump right in. So, skill tree. You want to choose right, right, left, left, right. The aim here is to choose skills which will enhance or boost your gathering, or give you some sort of bonus for kind of troop speed or something like that. You want to unlock these skills as quickly as possible, particularly the third skill. The third skill is probably the most important skill out of all of them. And you should hit that relatively early on. So when you land, obviously start gathering on a couple of mines, but ideally what you want to be doing is to be hitting as many mine patrols as possible to try and get to that level 3 as quickly as possible, because getting to that level 3 early is the difference between coming top 20 and top 5. So jump right in. What I'm doing for the first minute is I'm just scanning around. I'm just having a look at where I want to teleport to. So you start on the very outskirt of the map most of the time, amongst some level 1 mines. What I would generally recommend is you want to teleport amongst the level 2 mines because they're twice the gathering speed. Now, you don't want to go to level 3 mines because you're just going to be competing with whales. It's not going to be very fun. You're going to be fighting the whole time. It's pretty inefficient. But if you can find a cluster of level 2 mines that are quite close together, that's kind of an optimal spot to teleport to. And so that's what I'm doing. You can spend the first 3 minutes of the game just looking around the map and looking at some mines that where do you want to go? Where do you want to land? What is ideal is you land somewhere with a lot of these patrol guards around, especially the level 2 ones, because the most important aspect of this game is getting through the skill tree and getting to that level 3 skill as quickly as possible. So I find a spot and it's just counting down and I'm getting ready to teleport now. And I jump right in. So teleport there. I've got 2 mine guards right next to me. I've got a mine. Make sure you tick those boxes because they are so annoying when you're trying to play. Someone has unfortunately teleported about 5 seconds south of me. Bad luck. That's kind of going to happen. You can't really do anything about that. But I'm just hitting. You can see I'm hitting as many guards as possible. I've broken into one mine. I've started looting the loot piles. I accidentally clicked the wrong skill on the first skill, so good job. But don't worry about the first skill too much. As I said, the third skill is the most important skill in the game. So pick up my loot piles. Someone nicks my third one, which is annoying, but that's going to happen. And I've unlocked the second skill tree, and I pick up the speed boost. So you can see I'm looking around the map. I'm trying to find more mine patrol guards. I managed to find a couple more. And again, you want to just keep hitting those mine patrol guards. Once they're all dead, there's a couple of minutes where you won't see any on the map because they come in spawn cycles. So you want to try and kill as many as possible, as quickly as possible at the start of the game. Cracked open the second mine. I'm starting to loot the loot piles. I'm hitting now, in the bottom left, you've got a little button where you can just look for mine patrols, and if you find one where no one's marching there, you can go over and kill them and pick up some extra XP. Again, looting the loot piles, making the most out of the marches that I've got. And since the mine patrols have dried up now and I can't really see any others, I'm starting to just send more people to go out and mine and gather some ore. And I'm not going to try and pronounce ore in this game because I will butcher the pronunciation. So I send out a fourth march and I'm going to start looting the loot piles on the third march. Now, and I'm just looking around the map. I've unlocked the third skill, which is fantastic. Now, the third skill is that I get 5,000 ore every time I enter a mine. So if you look, I'm just about to enter and my ore has jumped from 14,000 to 19,000. It's massive. The time on the clock when that happened was about 24:42, and now I'm remembering that. 24:42, I got my first 5,000 payout. Why am I remembering that time? Because you get paid 5,000 once a minute, and I need to make sure that at 23:42, I'm going to re-enter a mine. So the trick with the third skill is you want to be entering a mine every minute, and that includes mines that you're already in. And so what you're about to see me do when the clock hits 23:50 or so is I'm going to withdraw from the mine that's closest to me, and I'm going to send some more troops into that mine. So here we go. So I recall the troops, and I send some more troops. I don't bother sending heroes because I'm just gathering. No one's going to fight me for this mine. And as soon as they get in, my ore jumps from 29,000 to 34,000. So I get 5,000. And I'm going to keep doing this again and again and again. It's ideal to teleport right up next to a mine because that minimizes the march time to and from. And all you're going to do is just keep withdrawing your troops and keep regathering on the same mine again and again and again, and keep activating that 5,000 point every minute of the game. If you can do that 20 times, that's 100,000 ore from the level 3 skill, which is incredible. I activate my pet boosts, which I don't know why I didn't do that at the start of the game. I just forgot. This is actually kind of a sloppy game from me, to be honest with you, but this is the one I screen recorded, so here we are. And again, I'm just surveying the map at the moment. I'm just looting. You have one march for loot piles. You want to make sure that is in use at all times. Loot as much as you can, because again, that's not using up a gathering march. That is using up a special march, it's called. So you just want to make sure you're trying to find a loot pile at all times and gather. What you just saw me do there is I realized that I'd sent my best heroes into this mine. If you're gathering uncontested, you don't actually need heroes. You kind of don't want them locked up in an uncontested mine. So what I did there was I withdrew my best heroes from that mine, and I sent forward a march with no heroes. If someone fights me for it, which I don't think they will, but if someone fights me for it, I'd rather lose them and assess the situation. And that way I can have my best heroes with me, and I can kind of go for use them as and when I need, basically, instead of having them locked up in the 5 mines. So here we go. I've got the 4th skill, and I've activated that now, which is a gathering buff, which is nice. Yeah, so I've just withdrawing my heroes from that mine and sending forward a blank march with no heroes. This guy's opened up, so I'm gonna steal his loot. Sorry about that. And why am I doing this? Here I'm withdrawing some troops. I'm putting them back in because, again, remember, 5,000 points. So as soon as that hits it, I jump from 61 to 66,000 ore. And you just got to keep remembering to do that every single minute. Withdraw, put in, withdraw, put in. Yeah, and right now I'm just scanning the map, trying to find more loot piles. Unfortunately, someone goes to the same loot pile as me, so I'm not going to end up getting that. But when you've got nothing to do, you should just be scanning the map for loot piles and try and steal someone else's loot, because it's just free ore and you can't use that march for anything else. So the banner's just come across the screen saying that the blue mountain thingies are going to appear in 60 seconds. These are amazing, and you absolutely need to be all over these. I withdraw my troops from gathering a little bit too early here, but you should try and time it so that you can maximize this time. I get quite lucky in this game, actually. So what I usually recommend when the blue mountains appear is you go and teleport right on the outskirts where no one is, because you can usually pick up 12 mountains to yourself, which is incredible. Here I decide not to teleport because I'm in a relatively okay space. I quite like the space I'm in. I don't really want to have the hassle. And I want to see how many marches I can get just by staying where I am. Now I end up with quite a lot, which makes me kind of happy that I stayed put. You are going to end up having fights here, by the way, because these flash up, and then you can see someone's invading down there. But that's just the nature of the game. Your gathering speed is 200 a second, so you're getting a lot of ore in a very short space of time. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to it. What I would say is, if you are in a highly contested area, you just want to teleport near the outskirts and just quickly scan the outskirts to find a bit that's where no one else is. I'm okay here, so I just decide to go locally. First round, I get 6 full marches of that, so I'm pretty happy with that. Second round, I don't think I do anywhere near as well. I can't really remember actually. Let's watch, but yeah, and here we go. So now the fighting starts. I have a look. I can't remember if I withdraw or not. If you're against a whale, no, I don't withdraw and I win the fight, which is nice. If you're against a whale and you're gonna lose, just withdraw and kind of bank what you've gathered so far. But again, look, I got 6 marches out gathering, and I'm doing pretty well where I am. So it's a good decision to stay and not teleport near the outskirts. And I'm scanning and I can see more empty mountains actually. So it's, I know that I can constantly use my marches. Third wave is coming through, and there's one quite close to me, so I'm gonna start on that. You want to just recycle, go for the ones closest to you, obviously, because you want to kind of get gathering, and then you can go for the ones a bit further out that take a bit longer. But again, you can see all 6 march queues out there. What I really should have done for this, and I didn't, but I should have done, is I should have saved one of my march queues to enter and exit one of those mines and keep activating the 5,000 point thing. I kind of lost myself a little bit because there were so many mountains and I just was so eager to gather. But actually, it would have been much better if I had saved my 6th march queue and just entered and exited the mine next to me. But anyway, I didn't, so who cares? Doesn't matter too much. But you should really only be gathering these mountain thingies with 5 marches. So I realize this belatedly, and I send a march to start gathering and obviously pick up the 5,000 points. The mine patrols are back, so I want to get some XP to get the 5th skill as quickly as possible. So I start trying to find those and send the mine patrols in. So again, just scanning the map and seeing if there's any mountains left over, and seeing any mine patrols that I can get. And I decide to fight this guy. I don't know why. Kind of boredom, and he wins. I don't know why I did that. It was kind of stupid, but anyway, doesn't matter. As I said, this is quite a sloppy fight. It's unlucky. I make a lot of mistakes in this one, but it turns out all right in the end. So I sent out some gatherers because again, you need to just constantly be using all your marches. The guy to the south of me, I think, has disappeared, which is fantastic because it means that I have even more mine patrols and some mines to myself, which I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, so gonna try and hit this level 2 mine. And again, I should have been withdrawing and re-entering the mines here. And I didn't because there's just so much going on in this mini game that it's impossible to kind of just keep remembering to withdraw and regather, because you're constantly looking for either blue mountains or mine patrols or whatever. I remember now, and I put some troops back in into the mine. I'm about to get 5,000 points, I think. Yeah, so jump from 150 to 155. I've got I've got 4 marches out gathering, and I think I add a 5th. What you want is when the game settled down after the blue mountain spawns, you kind of want 5 marches gathering, and you kind of want 1 to just hit mine patrols, basically, which is what I'm doing here. Obviously, once you've hit, once you've got to level 5, you can kind of relax about the mine patrol thing. But for now, you want to just be hitting these things as many times as you can. And again, keep scanning the map to see if you can steal anyone's loot piles. I remember here to withdraw my troops and regather, which is good because I can pick up the 5,000 points again here. And I think here I hit this level 1 mine just because I want to get some loot piles. Again, remember to if you're mining uncontested, remember just to not bother sending your heroes in to gather, because it's just a bit of a waste of time. I mean, if you are in an area where people are constantly fighting you, maybe you want to leave your heroes out to defend your troops. But on this map, I'm not really got anyone around me who's challenging my tiles, so I may as well leave the heroes at home so that I know if I do get into a fight, I can use them straight away instead of being like, oh my, I can't remember where my best fighting heroes are, and you've got the palaver of gathering. This guy steals my 3rd loot pile, which is kind of annoying, but you can't really do anything about that. So right now I've got 5 gathering in level 2 mines. There aren't any mine patrol guys to hit to pick up some extra XP. So all I'm doing is I'm using my 6th march to go out and hit new mines to basically bring loot piles. So here he's hitting the mine. There's 3 loot piles, and I can pick up hopefully 2 of them. But yeah, so you basically, as you go through the game, you want to have 5 marches roughly gathering, and then your 6th march you want to be doing something with, and that could be killing mine patrols. That could be hitting other mines just to open them up and just to have access to those loot piles. But you basically want to have your kind of 5 marches gathering and just bringing in the ore, really. And again, withdraw, regather, pick up another 5,000 points. This is the 12-minute mark now when I gather, so I try and remember the time so I remember to do it exactly a minute later and a minute later after that to keep activating that 5,000 point skill. So the game's going pretty well. I'm on coming up to the 200,000 ore mark, and there's 11 minutes left on the clock, so it's going pretty well. Not my best, but definitely not my worst game. So again, just as I said, keep going. Keep doing the same things, keep gathering, keep trying to get to that level 5 skill. I think I get it here. Yes, so as soon as I kill this guard, I'll get it, and I'll talk about the level 5 skill. So the level 5 skill is a gathering boost. You activate it, and then the cooldown is 5 minutes. You can't just activate it and it works. How the skill works is you activate it, and then any troops you send out in the next minute will have a massive gathering buff. So you see, I withdraw all my troops here. Well, we've got the Blue Mountains spawns coming up anyway, but I withdraw all my troops, and then when the Blue Mountains are finished, I'm going to activate the skill, and then I'm going to send all of the gatherers back out to basically have the buffed gathering speed. But no point in doing it before the Blue Mountains. I don't actually know if it works on them, but the gathering speed's like super quick on that anyway, so yeah, it's not a massive factor. So bring all my troops home, and here we go, and I'm going to try and just pick up as many of these as possible. There's less people around me now. I think they've teleported closer to the center. So yeah, here we go. Try and get all 6 marches. If I can get 6, fairly happy with that. If I can get any more, even better. And I find someone to loot as well, so happy days. Struggling to find mountains here, so maybe should have teleported for this second round because there's just not any mountain there. Now my internet cuts out and I can't see anything. Um, yeah, not a great round there. Just a little bit unlucky. That's going to happen sometimes. So we'll see how the second wave goes. And there's quite a few near me this time, so hopefully this goes a bit better for me. Um, but yeah, I start a little bit further away just to lock in some that could be contested, and then the ones that are right close to me now, then I send my kind of weaker heroes there. You want to send your stronger heroes to the ones that are most likely to get you in a fight, basically. And the weaker heroes you want to send to the ones that are next door, because you're going to gather that before by the time anyone gets to you anyway. My internet really sucks for this game, so I can't actually see anything on the map, which not ideal, but it's fine. It's not a problem. So I managed to use all 6 March queues here, which I'm pretty happy with. And there's some other mines I decided to fight because probably boredom. I can't even remember, to be honest. Wave 3 is coming up, and again, just try and find those 6 mountains that you can gather on. Again, these are a little bit further away um, than normal, but I'm just trying to lock in as many as possible and hope that the ones that are really close to me, like this one here, that no one gathers until I've got a march back, basically. One thing I haven't mentioned, if you do find yourself constantly in fights and losing those fights, you can come out of Frostfire and you can activate a buff for 2000 gems. You can activate your lethality buff or your health buff. Those are the 2 I would recommend. You can do one or both, and that will make a huge difference when you're fighting guys in here, much more than the attack ones. And again, it's only 2000 gems, so if you feel like you end up fighting a lot and you're losing, just jump out of the game, activate that buff, and jump back in. So Blue Mountains is finished, and I decide to gather. Like an idiot, I forget the fact that I have that skill. I don't activate it. I think I'm going to realize in a minute and regret it. But yeah, I start sending people out. I find some new mines with some new guards, so I think, woohoo, loot piles. So I attack here just to open those up, and then I gather. Now, after I've sent all my gather marches out, that is completely ridiculous. So what I should have done is you activate the gathering boost, and then you send out all your marches to gather. I did it completely the wrong way around because I don't know. I think I was on train and I was tired. Who knows? Anyway, I've opened up a couple of mines, and I start looting them. I'm just trying to pick these up as quickly as possible before someone else sees what I've done. There's 6 to collect, which is I think I'm going to end up losing some, so I'm just trying to concentrate on that really. And yeah, look, someone else has seen me, unfortunately, so I'm going to lose a couple here. But again, don't get too stressed. Nothing you can do about that. That's just it's just how it goes. So I'm coming up to 300,000 points here, with 5 minutes left on the clock, which is pretty good going. That will usually mean if you can break the 300,000 mark, it probably means you've had a pretty good game. Enough to get into the top 20, I would say. And the fact that there's 5 minutes left it's kind of giving me hope for a top 10 place. I don't click on the scoreboard because there's just so much going on, and I kind of don't want to jinx it. I don't click on the scoreboard, I think, until quite late on this game. Someone has opened up another mine, which is great because we can steal their loot, which is very nice. And again, I'm just remembering to recall and regather on the mining node closest to me, and just continue to activate that 5,000 ore skill, level 3 skill that we talked about. So just keep remembering, it activates every time you enter a mine, only once per minute. So you just have to keep entering and exiting the mine closest to you to just keep activating that skill. I loot this guy twice, I think, which is great. Yeah, he's probably pretty bad, but you can't attack cities in this game, unlike Foundry, which is quite nice. So I've got all my gatherers out now. I should have used my gathering skill a lot better. I probably would have had a much better score had I used my gathering skill properly. But again, what you want to do is use your gathering skill and then send all your marchers out, and you'll notice your gathering speed is massively increased, and it just means more points and ranks you higher up the board. I completely butchered that in this game, and I have no idea why, but as I said, there you go. Just to say, on the loot piles, there's 3 amounts that it can be. So when you loot, it will usually say this is how much you've looted, and these are the other 2 possible piles. I don't usually check it because free loot is free loot. I'm always just gonna loot it. If there's only the lowest amount available, I'm still gonna go for it, right? Because I can't use that march for anything else. It's a separate march to your core marches, so you just need to use it if you can. I actually managed to mine through some of the mines here and use them, exhaust them basically. So it means that another vein spawns really close to it, which is obviously brilliant because we're going to have more loot piles to loot. Yeah, I checked the gathering buff there. It's got a little bit more time on it. Maybe I'll get to use it just before the game ends, but I'm not going to see that much benefit from it. And I'm trying to just pick up the loot piles now, get the one furthest away from me firstly, obviously, because it's the hardest one to get. And I'm remembering to recall and regather to just get that 5,000 point boost. Although I didn't really need to do it that time because I had obviously just entered a mine when that new mine spawned, so I didn't actually need to do that, but here we are. There's only a minute left on the clock. I activate that gathering boost again without, using it properly. Doesn't really matter at this stage because the game's almost finished. Coming up to 360,000 points, which is very good. Again, 300. I would say above 300,000, you should be getting in the top 20. Above 350, you should be getting into the top 10. So I know I'm probably somewhere in the top 10 now. And I open up another mine, trying to get into those loot piles as quickly as possible. This one's quite dangerous because it's next to someone's city, obviously. So I need to make sure I loot. And I check the scoreboard for the first time in the game, and I'm 6th, which, pretty happy with. Considering I'm a free-to-play player and I haven't had to fight. Well, we had a couple of fights actually on the Blue Mountain spawns, but I haven't really had to fight anyone for position. The level 2 mines that I recommended, it's a much better place to go if you don't want to constantly have to fight for mines. If you go to the level 3s, you're just going to be fighting the entire time. So clock's counting down. Bear in mind that the people who have fought for the middle volcano thing, they could leapfrog you as the clock runs out. So don't be surprised if you're 6th and then the game ends and then you find out you're actually finished 9th or something, But we finish up. We're in 6th. I'm pretty happy with that. All the other guys, I think there's a couple from our state, but you know, they would have been jostling for the middle. And yeah, so look, that's it. Reach out to me on Discord if there's any questions on that fight. But look, the key messages, the key things you need to remember are: number one, the level 3 skill is so important, just re-entering and entering and picking up that 5,000 point boost. And number two is the mine patrols. You want to get that XP as quickly as possible. So go in, hit as many mine patrols as you can, and then just start activating that level 3 again and again and again. Good luck, let me know.